All right, it's Jim from Jim's Holies and Coleus. It's my son Vincent. It's moving time, finally. Forecast looks good. I'm looking ahead the next 2 weeks. Every night is above 40, 50. So no 30s, no upper 30s, mid 30s in sight. So although it's an outdoor greenhouse, I did make it myself. I have a small heater in there, but there's no rush. So I learned from my mistakes over the years to be patient. The warm weather arrives every year. Sunrises, sunsets every year. So today's the day. We'll move everything out to the greenhouse. So let's go follow along and let's get my dining room back to order. Right, Vince? What do you say? Yes, please. Okay, let's go. Let's go take a look. Okay, so here we are. Thankfully I have my son to help me. It's a lot of moving stuff around. So we rearranged a little of the shelving. I still got some pots on this shelf. But I have all these other racks here. And again, I built this. I have a video if you're interested in learning how to build one of your own greenhouses. And you could, whatever size, it's the same concept. I have a video if you want to take a look through my videos, and you can learn how to build this type of lean-to greenhouse real easy. So we got lots of room here, and let's go take a look at the Coleus. Okay, so here we are. This is it. This is pretty much everything I have. I have a tray and 6 or so decorator pots in my indoor greenhouse still that I just transplanted, and they're nice. These are all nice, but these other ones I just transplanted, so they're in the greenhouse here. I'll show you here. Here's a few of them, and I just want to leave them in there for a while to get them to root and establish themselves, and then we'll head them out here. But this is it. This is basically everything I have. So this, again, we're opening up the greenhouse today and we're getting everything ready to go in. But at the same time, I'm going to leave these out. I just gave them a good shot of water. And I'm gonna, this is where I've said in the past, this is where the magic really happens, because I can get, when I'm outside here, I got all this room, obviously. Eventually I'll set up my tent if it's a really hot summer day, and it'll be more in the shade. But process right now is hardening them, so I'm gonna leave these out for a few hours. There's a light breeze, which is perfect. It's around 58 degrees maybe, but it's a nice clear sunny day, and this is perfect. This is how you harden your Coleus. This is how you take Coleus that you grew from seed, that have always been inside, that do not know what it's like to be outdoors, and this is how you acclimate them to the harsher environment of the outdoors, the changing conditions of the outdoors, the breeze and so forth. It helps them, the roots anchoring well. I read, I don't know if it was on YouTube or what, I believe it was South Florida University, how they take their Coleus and how they harden them and how they find the absolute best, strongest genetic sequences of the Coleus by, they drive them in the back of trucks in the wind, and then they plant them in fields with harsh aluminum foil around there to get them really sun hardened. And the ones that live, because they plant so many, the ones that live are genetically the stronger Coleus, and then they take the offspring from there. So basically, it's similar. You're acclimating your Coleus. Hardening your Coleus is acclimating your Coleus to the harsh outdoors. You don't harden your Coleus when it's below 60 degrees, 55. You can get away with 50, 55, but you may risk damaging it. Absolutely do not harden your Coleus on a really sustained windy day, because it just damages the Coleus. But a day like today, where there's a light breeze, it's sunny, perfect. And just a couple hours. And do this every day for about 2 weeks. And then your Coleus will be completely acclimated to the outdoors, which means when I create my pots and I eventually have them at the farmer's market and someone buys them, or if I plant these on the outside in planters or whatever, they're going to live. They're going to be okay because they're used to being outdoors. So basically now, from this point on, if you're following along my videos, the next couple of videos you can look forward to are how I survey each one of these, cut out same thing, cut out the dead leaves. I'm going to organize them by color, and then I'm going to create pots, hanging baskets, and so forth. But really at this point, it's easier to do out in the open like this. Okay, so here I am back in the greenhouse. Just going to go over a few things in case you're thinking of building your own greenhouse, or just giving you the idea of why the magic, as I call it, the magic happens inside the greenhouse. Here it is. It's upper 50s outside. I've had this open now for about a half an hour, 40 minutes, and it's about 78 degrees in here. Very effective. And once I get all my plants in here and they're all watered, over time, as I water them every day and the heat builds up and so forth, it creates an ecosystem basically inside your greenhouse. That's the greenhouse plastic. It creates a nice humid atmosphere inside, a humid environment. And that humid environment really makes, it just does wonders, because Coleus are tropical, the Southeast Asian tropical plants. They thrive on heat and humidity, and what better way than the inside of a greenhouse? So hardening on the outside, getting used to the Coleus, getting the Coleus used to being outside by hardening them is important, because that's eventually, hopefully, mostly all the Coleus will end up there. A major thing once we get into summer and the heat is ventilation. You can see I have this is a standard type of drop down vent window for a greenhouse, and in the front I built in a little vent window that just drops down, and then I have the door. And what I'll do is, and we're talking about when we start getting into the heat of the summer, 90s and so forth, or days that are just very calm, there's no breeze, you want to get oxygen pumping through the Coleus. This is during the daytime when I have this greenhouse wide open, when it's 100 degrees in here, and that's what this fan is for. So if you're greenhousing Coleus, you want to make sure you keep oxygen pumping. You want basically the breeze, like outside, and that helps. It just pumps the oxygen into the plants. It just moves the oxygen around. It's not creating more oxygen. I think you know what I mean. Gets the oxygen moving. It also keeps pests from finding a nice comfy refuge under your leaves. So if you keep your plants moving, and I'm not talking about high, I'm not going to put this fan on high, I'm going to put it on oscillate. I'm going to put it on a low or medium setting, away indirectly from the Coleus, and it's going to swath back and forth and make sure all of the Coleus get some kind of air movement, and that really makes a difference. And that's why for 13 years now, I've totally actually been doing this 13 years, but I built this greenhouse about 8 years ago. I've never had insect problems. Very few insect problems. And that's due to keeping, of course it depends on where you live. Some people have problems with insects, some people have problem with slugs. Lucky here I don't have an insect problem, but I count that to the air movement. So these racks I got at Lowe's, Home Depot. They're like 40 bucks a piece, $50 a piece. Very easy to put together. I have some these racks on the top, or hanging baskets. So I'm going to keep my Coleus outside for a few hours to get them hardened up. They're watered real well, and then I'm going to put them in here, close up. Going to keep this window open, keep that. I may shut that a little bit because I want to get the humidity up here. And also it's going to, obviously it's around 1:30 in the afternoon here in New Jersey. As we get closer to night, it's going to start to cool off a little bit, so I want to keep as much heat in here as possible. And also I have a heater, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so this is a disc furnace. It's a ceramic disc furnace, electric, and I keep this going through the night up until I know each summer, up until the summer nights, the heat of the summer nights go. As long as the temperature does not drop below 50 degrees, I'll keep this thing going overnight. And then I shut it off, obviously, in the morning. Once the sun rises, it shoots up in here, and then I eventually have to pop open. I always pop open the greenhouse, unless it's a really nasty, windy, rainy day. I always keep this open to get the air ventilation through. And if I close this whole greenhouse up, that windows, doors, and keep this shut during a sunny day, before I know it, it'll be close to 110 degrees in here. And then that's just a little bit too much for the Coleus. It'll end up damaging them. We don't want to really fry these guys. And that's another thing. Get yourself, if you're making your own Coleus, again, I have the video on how to make it and the items that you need to build it. 40% shade cloth. This keeps, it keeps the sun, the intensity of the sun at bay. Because if I didn't have this shade cloth up top, it would be unbearable in here, and the Coleus would die. They would just get fried, because once the summer arrives and it starts getting into the 90s here, without shade cloth in here, forget it. It would be 150, 160 degrees and everything would melt probably. Very important. Greenhouse in your Coleus. Ventilation. Get yourself some insect spray soap. I'll show you that. Get yourself some insect spray soap. Only use it when you see signs of insects. So again, I'm very lucky I don't have any insects. So here we are back out in the trays. So we're gonna let these harden off. This is perfect. I'm so happy. I was hoping to get this done today, and I'm very happy that the day turned out to be perfect for the move into the greenhouse. Because as I've been saying in other videos, the magic doesn't happen until I get these in the greenhouse. The growth, the rapid growth from the greenhouse conditions is unbelievable, and the color, I'll start getting the undergrowth. It'll really accelerate now. So, all right. So if you don't have a greenhouse or whatever, just take some of the principles that I talk about here and just apply them as best you can. Harden your Coleus. If you only have your indoors, bring your Coleus outside for a few hours a day for a couple of weeks once the weather comes in, and bring them inside. even if it's an outdoor Coleus, even if it's an indoor Coleus that you're going to keep in a room or whatever, but you want to get it really jump started, you know, bring it outside. Give it, harden it off, bring it outside. And another thing, highly recommend, is I use Miracle Grow, the water soluble plant food, the general purpose Miracle Grow water soluble plant food that I mix up in these 2.5 gallon containers. Once the growing season starts and I get these in pots and so forth. Every month or so, I give them a shot of the Miracle Grow, and it really makes a difference. So, all right, so thanks for following along, and stay tuned for the more videos to be coming. Once I'm gonna get all these plants inside the greenhouse situated, I got to organize some things, got to clean up some of those pots in there, move things around a little bit, find a good home for all these, and then we'll get the season started. So, hey, thanks a lot for following along. Any questions or comments, as always, if you want to keep in touch with me, Instagram, you can Instagram me. That's Jim's Holiest of Coleus on Instagram, Jim's Holiest of Coleus on Facebook. If you have a question with the Coleus and you want to take a photo of the problem you're having, feel free to send me a message or put it right on my Facebook page, and I'll absolutely get back to you. So no problem at all. I really enjoy corresponding with everybody. It's a lot of fun. It's what motivates me to do this every year. So, and of course, these beautiful Coleus. I have a nice variation, a nice variety of colors, and I'm really looking for, as much as I look forward to when I planted these, I look forward to the effects of the greenhouse. And these are really in nice shape. Look at those jitters. And the jitters are beautiful for hanging baskets. When I get these in hanging baskets, and that's what I'm gonna do next. That's the excitement of it. Is hey, what am I gonna make of? Where am I put this one? What am I gonna team this Coleus up with? Let me see what color pot I have. Or should I put this in a hanging basket? Here, this is a black stockings. It's a little behind. Where am I going to put that? And I have a whole bunch of peppers too. I grew a whole bunch of peppers. I'm starting to get, if it really shows up, I'm starting to get the fruit, the pepper fruit. So we'll put these in the ground. I got some string beans, cucumbers, radishes, and tomatoes inside of my greenhouse, as like so. So we're keeping the growing cycle going here at Jim's Holiest of Coleus. So, all right, hey, thanks again. Really appreciate you guys following along, and stay tuned for the next video. Will be coming up really soon. So, oh boy, am I tired. Okay, we're done. We got everything moved into the greenhouse. I just put this table here temporarily because I want to get the heater up on the stool here. So I'm gonna put the heater on tonight because, you know, again, it's gonna probably be 47, 50 degrees. Supposed to get rain all day tomorrow, but I want to make sure I keep it toasty warm in here. Again, it's around 3 p.m. It's been open all day. I just shut the back window. It's still open a little crack because we want ventilation in here, but we're gonna close this up in a little while for the night. I'll put the heater on after as we approach sunset, a little before, because I want to get as much heat in here for tonight. And I'm not worried about the Coleus because it's not going to dip. It's certainly, even if it gets to be 45 degrees out here in New Jersey overnight, it's going to stay at least upper 50, 60 degrees in here, even with this heater going. It'll keep going. But again, this is a homemade greenhouse. It's very good. It's greenhouse plastic. If you, like I said, if you want to look through my video, I have a video on how I built this. But here it is. I got everything set up. I organized as best I could, all by colors, typed Kongs, some jitters and some variations, greens, wizard varieties, the dark colors. Got the hanging baskets. They're empty, obviously. I got some of my pots. You know, I left the pots out a little longer than I wanted to today, so I got a couple of leaves that got damaged. That's why when you harden your coleus, just keep them out for a few hours. I had them out for 4 or 5. And, you know, I make mistakes too. You know, I mean, it's just a learning process. They're not dead by any stretch of the imagination, but I just got tied up getting my coleus moved into the greenhouse, and I had all these out, went over, you know, getting hardened, and they're all happy. What I'm going to do now is I bought myself this nice commercial sprayer, because these little plastic ones, they're handy when I go out, you know, when I go to my farmer's market, but they don't hold enough water. They fall apart, and they just, I mean, for $4. This, I think I paid around $70-80 for this, but this is a nice steel. It's a heavy duty brass and steel sprayer. It's a water sprayer. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give, even though I watered them earlier in the sun, why am I, when I videotape, someone's got to come by with a loud Harley. I just can't win here. So anyway, so I'm going to give them all a good nice shot of water. I'm going to try to get some moisture in here and close it up, and all that moisture is going to evaporate inside here, and it's going to become very humid. And that's what I'm going to try to do, is just give it a spritz, get some moisture all over the place in here. These trays will have some water in here, so all that water is going to evaporate. Once I close the shop, close this greenhouse door, shut one of the vents, again, once the heater's going, all that moisture is going to evaporate. We're going to get nice humid conditions in here, and that's what boosts these coleus. This is what makes them thrive. Humidity. You're really trying to mimic their native land, which is the tropics. It's not a very difficult concept. Some really beautiful colors coming in. So alright, so stay tuned. Again, this is when magic happens. I was going to make a couple of pots up today, but I'm tired. I'm done. I worked at midnight overtime last night, and I got tonight off. I'm going to go and work another overtime tomorrow. I'm an essential state employee, so we're working hard, keeping everybody safe and stuff. So alright, so thanks for watching. Very happy to get Jim's Holiest of Coleus greenhouse up and running. And thank you to you guys for following along. Really appreciate you making my challenge a success. It's you guys that make me, that motivate me. So, all right, everybody, have a great weekend. And thanks for watching Jim's Holiest of Coleus.